handouts of food aid rather than help with agricultural productivity. So shipping American food rather than helping farmers to grow more food is not a solution. So the point is to focus, to be targeted, to think carefully about where successes have come and why they've come. The achievements have been monumental. Some of the failures have been monumental also, like in Iraq, like in Zaire, so-called. Like when we played Cold War games, didn't really care where the money went, after all. Those kinds of aid can never work. Aid should be for development assistance. That's what the official term is, official development assistance. And then there's a large record of wonderful success. I was at a conference yesterday seeing fantastic evidence of the control of awful diseases like African river blindness, like lymphatic filariasis, like dracunculiasis, which is African guinea worm. I know that the same can be done with malaria control now. I know what Rotary has led in polio and so forth. So let's not make generalizations that appeal to preconceptions and stereotypes, let's say. Let's get specific about what we can do. Let's not be defeatist about it. Let's learn the lessons of success as well as the lessons of failure.
I think, Bob, that Jeff has addressed the specifics of the argument, and I certainly would not have a great deal more to add to it. The only point I would make is, again, the style of the conference. Those of us who approach this question under the imperative of religious mandates and moral mandates have to be able to answer the empirical question. So the value of who you've invited to this and the approach you're making for it is what's necessary in the long term. In a country like the United States, we will not be an effective voice unless we can take up objections like this, answer them calmly and rationally, and put together the best of our moral vision and the best of our empirical knowledge.
To what degree can the United States, in cooperation with other rich countries, assist Africa in addressing AIDS?
Well, absolutely it can lead. This is one of the few areas where there has been some notable leadership. Because of American efforts, about 500,000 Africans are now on life-saving antiretroviral medicines that otherwise would not have been on these medicines in the past. And I think that that's a very important and notable achievement of our government. It's interesting that the President recommended a $3 billion a year AIDS control effort, an emergency plan. It was big and bold, and it's been highly successful, and the President likes it very much. So I keep encouraging the administration and the President, do more. It'll feel good. We'll have similar successes. Don't stop there, because that basic lesson that starting from essentially zero, you could get 500,000 people on these life-saving medicines and prevent maybe 2 million orphans as a result, becoming orphaned, as a result of this is a wonderful achievement. Now let's do the same in these other areas that can play an important role. I'm a big fan. I was lucky to help write the original plan for the Global Fund to fight AIDS, TB, and malaria. That's something that we could support very ambitiously that would make a huge difference for all three of those killer diseases. The Global Fund to fight AIDS, TB, and malaria.
And I think it is good to note also that in this area particularly, Catholic Relief Services is a major player across Africa, using U.S. government funds and combining it with the network of the church. So that's a good example of how NGOs and the larger structural agencies of the state system interact.
If you could change one element of U.S. trade policy for the benefit of the poorer countries of the world, what would that be?
Well, I mentioned the one that is the most abusive, frankly, of all, and it's the one that's gotten the most attention, actually, and that's the cotton subsidy. Cotton gets more than $3 billion a year. That's the most, actually I don't know this year, but it's been around $3 billion or more of subsidies for about 26,000 farmers. When you do the calculation, we're talking about $140,000 per farmer of subsidy. It's a little bit abusive even in terms of our taxpayers and our own needs. But I was last year in just about the poorest place I've ever been, a cotton growing village in southern Mali. We sat around in the dirt. There was only dirt huts there. And the farmers couldn't understand. I asked them about it, and they explained that the farm cotton cooperative had provided their inputs at the beginning of the season, the seed, and a little bit of fertilizer, and then at the end of the season took up their crop and then told them they were deeper in debt after the summer of harvest because the cost of the inputs was more than the value of the output. And literally, the whole village just sank deeper into debt with no money after a season of farming, of backbreaking labor, because the price of cotton is so depressed by what we and Europe do. Now, the World Trade Organization has ruled against us several times, and we've promised to do something in the so-called Doha round, and we haven't done it. So if I had my Christmas wish, it would be to stop this particular abuse of the trading system. We can do other things. We don't have to give $140,000 per farm for cotton growers in this country, and thereby drive down world prices of some of the very poorest people in the world.
I think that for many of us gathered here today, if we had our Christmas wish, it would be that this very vexing and thorny and dire problem of poverty in our world can be addressed through the help of you and so many others, both of you and so many others who have launched initiatives to do just that. And so we thank you for being with us this day. This was a great gift to us as a conference, as a community and communities of faith, and as individuals who seek to make our world better by reaching out to our sisters and brothers in solidarity, as we heard this morning, of forging relationships and helping economic justice to be a foundation for those relationships. Thank you both very, very much.